Come here. Jones. Get out of here. You just threw her on the floor and she landed on her stomach and she's like, Mother, why? Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. I don't know why I'm being so aggressive. I actually already filmed this entire video, but if you watched my previous one, you'll notice that the audio is all muffled and messed up. And then I filmed this one that same day and the audio was also muffled and messed up, and I discovered that just a bunch of dust had been yeeted into the microphone on my camera and I had to clean it out and refilm this whole video. It's January 2023 and I'm gonna talk about my reading goals for this year. Last year I read something like 65 books, I think. This year I set my goal to 70 books. I've already read 2. I read Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, and I read Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And I'm gonna talk about that one a little bit in next Friday's video. So if my goal is 70 books, why is the title of this video 23 and 23? Because it sounds cool. I saw it on TikTok or something, I don't even remember where I saw it, but I'm gonna list for you today 23 books that I want to read in 2023. I'm gonna read more than that in total, but these are 23 that I'm really gonna try to read because they've been on my TBR for a long time, or I just want to, or I told someone I would. I've decided to break down the 23 books into different categories on likelihood of me actually reading them. The first category, we are calling the likely category because they are short and sweet and very intriguing. Book number 1 is Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. I actually started this one last year. I got to page 34. My cat is fighting to the death with a piece of cardboard, I think. It's good. I need to finish it. It's so short. Look how little baby this is. One thing I have to say about this though, Rob J. Hayes, what the heck is this font for the chapter headings? What does this say? I can't read it. Book number 2. I've read most of her books. You might be able to see some of them right here behind me on the shelf. It is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. The thing I love most about T. Kingfisher's writing is her versatility. She writes mainly horror, but she also writes epic fantasy that always has a bit of creepiness to it. She also, under a different name, Ursula Vernon, writes middle grade books, which is incredible. Book 3 is Little Eve by Catriona Ward. This is nice and short. I also met Cat Ward in a bathroom in London once. 4. The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. It's got like Alien meets The Descent vibes. Book number 5 is Lonely Castle in the Mirror, Mizuki Tsujimura. Sorry if that's wrong. It is translated to English. It's cozy and cute and very emotional. Book 6 was actually a cover by originally, Day Boy by Trent Jameson. I'm trying to catch the light. Oh, it's hard to tell, but it's like filigree gold. It's gorgeous. End of likely books. So you know I'll be reading at least those 6 books. Category number 2 is books that I'm calling probably I'll read them because they're cool, and I also have a bit of an obligation to read them. Oh, and I should mention before I continue that this is not the order in which I'm going to be reading these books. This is just kind of randomly how I've selected them today, and I'm going to read them in the order I want to because I am a mood reader. Book number 7, Valor by John Gwynne. So why Valor and not Malice? I'm currently reading Malice in a big Discord read along. It's so much fun. Hi, I hope you guys are watching this. Valor is the 2nd book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. I'm finishing up Malice this month, January, and then we're starting to read Valor in February. We're doing 1 book a month. There are 4 books. So I guess that's actually 2 more books that I'm gonna read this year for sure. Book number 8. I have read nothing by this author, and I will never hear the end of it from certain people. Okay, that's a lie. I did read The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series, but I've been told specifically that I must read The Shining by Stephen King. I'm gonna read it, I promise. Book number 9 was gifted to me a long time ago, and I really should read it because it was a gift. And because I want to. Don't get me wrong, I do want to read it. It's Daughter of Redwinter by Ed McDonald. If you're American or Canadian and you're looking at this book and you're like, why is it blue? I don't understand. It's because it's from England. Should I stop doing an English accent in my videos? I do an English accent like in my everyday life all the time, and I'm not good at it. Book 10. Oh, I should have made this book number 9 because it's 9th house. The reason I have an obligation to read 9th house is because I caved this month and decided to actually sign up for Book of the Month, which if you don't know is basically a subscription box. I signed up this month, and obviously the book I picked was Hellbent, the sequel to 9th house. I was told to look up the trigger warnings for it though, and I did, and there are a lot. I'm okay with all of them. I probably shouldn't be, but I am. But if you're gonna read 9th house, please do look at the trigger warnings because, whoa. Book 11 is The Night and Its Moon by Piper CJ. I have no actual obligation to read this book, but I follow Piper CJ on TikTok and Instagram, and she is hilarious. Especially her TikToks promoting her book sales. Like, they're so funny. Also, she might be the prettiest human being alive. Category 3, if you're still with me, is I'm probably gonna read them because I want to, but I might just not. What book number was that? That was 12. This is book 12, Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott. So this is a Baba Yaga retelling, which there were 2 that came out in quick succession of each other, I think like within the same 2 weeks. The other one is The Witch and the Tsar. I'm trying to get through it, but I'm not vibing with it. Anyways, Thistlefoot has had some excellent reviews. I believe it was, I don't know if it won anything on Goodreads, but it definitely made it through several rounds last year of the Goodreads award thingies. 13 is Gallant by V.E. Schwab or Victoria Schwab. I've not had a great track record with V.E. Schwab books. I really didn't enjoy Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I also didn't really love The Near Witch, which was her debut, I believe. And I read A Darker Shade of Magic when it first came out 90 years ago. And yeah, I just so why did I get it? Because it's a signed first edition and I have no self-control. This is book number 14, is Empire of Exiles by Erin M. Evans. The alliteration on this book. One of the other reasons I want to read this though is because it's got those piratey vibes, and I am currently writing my own piratey vibes book. I'm not gonna plagiarize it, I just want some inspiration. And speaking of piratey books, number 15 is Crossbones by Kimberly Vale. This is a Wattpad book. Never in my life did I know that Wattpad actually found and sold books. It's got a quote from Hannah Witten on it. She wrote for The Wolf. The last line of it is, "Get ready to be swashbuckled." I'm ready, Hannah Witten. We'll see, because it's a Wattpad book. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Wattpad literature, but if you know, you know, you know? Book 16 is Daughters of Izdihar. Oh, sorry if I butchered that. I did my best. This is a feminist Egyptian epic fantasy sort of situation. It only came out 3 days ago, so there are essentially no reviews about it. It's got quotes on it from S.A. Chakraborty, Tasha Suri, Ava Reed, Chelsea Abdullah, Andrea Stewart, Davinia Evans. Everyone in this genre is praising it. Oh, and also it's a duology, not a trilogy, which is very appealing to me because I have commitment issues. Book 17 is Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gratton. It's been on my TBR for about 100 years, and it sounds really, really, really interesting, but every time I finish a book and I'm like, all right, what do I read next? This never comes to mind. Category 4 is what I'm calling just, I'm gonna try. This category is reserved for books that are incredibly intimidating, thick boys. I've also decided to order this category by least intimidating to most intimidating. Number 18 is some Brando Sando. It's Warbreaker. The reason this is least intimidating of the intimidating books is because I've already started the audiobook for this one, and I think I'm just gonna continue it that way. It's really only available here in Canada in this mass market paperback size, which I just despise. Like I have very mannish hands. My hands are as big as this book. I can't hold it. It's not comfortable. Book number 19 is one that's been on my TBR again for so long. I've posted about how I've not read it many times on Instagram, and I still have not read it. It's Priory. The Priory and the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. She's just so big. My camera just stopped filming. I guess there's a limit on how long I can film for. Cool. Book 20 is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Again, another very thick boy. I've heard mixed things actually. At the start when it first came out, I heard incredible things, and now not so much. But I do have the Indigo exclusive red cover, which is a beauty. And just look at these end papers. God damn. I'll get there. 21 is a book that I have put on my currently reading sections of Goodreads about 10 times now. And then I just take it off because I'm not actually reading it. The Ember Blade by Chris Whitting. Apparently it's just unbelievably good. I really want to find out for myself. This one may end up being an audiobook situation for me because I just don't know if I can commit to 900 pages. 22 is another very long book. It's The Sword of Kagan by M.L. Wang. This is a self-published book that, again, I've heard mixed things. A lot of people love it. Some people don't. Last but not least at all, we have number 23. This is a book I've been told to read by a friend on Bookstagram. And the author of this book actually also follows me on Instagram. So I really need to read this book so I can be like, hey, I read your book and it's fantastic. I also own the entire trilogy. It's The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee. The second book is even bigger than this one, so I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try, Riley. I know you're watching this. Those were the 23 books I'm gonna read in 2023. If you didn't notice, all 23 of those books are books that I own physical copies of because the point of this video was to get books off of my physical TBR. That being said, there are some honorable mentions, which are books that are coming out this year that are just not out yet, which is why I don't have them, which is why they're technically not on that list. So right at the beginning of February, The Cradle of Ice, which is the sequel to The Starless Crown by James Rollins, is coming out. This is such an underrated book. I've been posting about it on Instagram recently, and a lot of people have said they've added it to their TBRs. Please read this book. Emily Tesch'S newest book, Some Desperate Glory, is coming out later in the year. She wrote one of my favorite duologies of all time, these little novellas. King of novellas. Martha Wells, author of the Murderbot Diaries, has a book called Witch King coming out this year, which looks very cool, at least based on the cover. Also, it's Martha Wells. One of my most anticipated reads for this year is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by S.A. Chakraborty. She wrote City of Brass, the David Bad series. Stephen Arion, the author of the Quest for Heroes duology. I've got my broken binding copies right here. His newest book, The Judas Blossom, is coming out in July this year. And on that very same release day, the third book in the Covenant of Steel trilogy by Anthony Ryan is coming out. That is called The Traitor. Look, these books are by two different authors, but they look very similar. I want to read more just self-published stuff this year. So I've read The Fangs of War by E.J. Doble. His next book, The Horns of Grief, is coming out soon. And then I've read Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, but I want to just read more Ryan Cahill this year. His newest book, I think, is with ARC readers at the moment. And that is all. If you want to keep up with my reading journey as I quickly forget about all of these books I've just mentioned and then pick up random stuff at the bookstore to start reading, you can follow me on Goodreads. Let's be friends. I want to know what you're reading. My Goodreads is this, because I forget. Let me know down in the comments if any of these books are just not worth reading, because I don't want to waste my time. Also, let me know if any of these books are on your TBR, or if you've just read them in general and what your thoughts were. I want to know. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell icon so you know when I upload my next video. Okay, bye.